No. Hello and welcome to Cyan Labs, where I am going to show you all things Cogs in the FTB Skies pack available on the Bedrock Marketplace. So, yes, Cogs and machinery. And to get started with any of this stuff, we're going to need to learn about rotational power production. Okay, so let's come into this part of the lab. And to get started with, one of the first things you're going to need to make is some diorite alloys, and these are made with iron nuggets and some blocks of diorite. Diorite can be obtained, you can get like little diorite pebbles from sifting dirt. Once you've got a few of them, you can then set up a pedestal generator, so make sure to check out my pedestal video for that. And the iron nuggets, you'll be able to sieve iron from gravel. Okay, so once you've got yourself some diorite alloys, you can then put two of them together to make yourself some shafts. Okay, and this is one of the ways that we're going to be able to move power around. Once you've got some shafts, you can then put them with any plank and make yourself some cogs. Okay, and then we need to also make some diorite alloy casings. And to do this, all you need to do is get yourself a log, strip the log, and then click a diorite alloy on top. Okay, and I'm going to do that again because if you do it on the side, it does work as well. There's a few things in this pack that if you do it on the side, it doesn't work. But yes, as you can see there, you just strip the logs, click it with the alloy, and boom, there you go. We've got some diorite alloy casings. Okay, so they're the fundamental things that we're going to need. We're going to want casings, cogs, and shafts, all made from the diorite alloys. Now we know all of this stuff, let's look at how to create rotational force. So very early on, we can make ourselves a hand crank, and you can see here it's very simple. It's just some cobblestone, a couple of sticks, any sort of plank, and then a little bit more cobblestone, and this is going to create the hand crank. So we've got a cog placed on the bottom here. Okay, you can see that, and the hand crank is on top, floating away. But yes, when we turn the hand crank, it is in fact going to turn the cog underneath. Okay, another thing that we can do is make ourselves a water wheel. So using one of the shafts that I've already shown off, surround that with planks, we can then make ourselves a water wheel. And you can see that it's turning this cog on top. So what I've done here is I've got a little 3x3 area, and then I've put a water source in the middle here, and that flowing water is allowing the water wheel to spin. So very early game sort of power generation there, but it will run without you having to sort of interact with it. Once you progress a little bit more, you can then create a solar powered cog. Okay, so better than both of these, because obviously the water wheel needs the water. You need a bit of a bigger setup for it, but the solar powered cog, yes, look at that, it's one block. It's literally one block. The only downside is it's only going to work during the day. Obviously being solar powered, at night time it won't work. But to make this, you're going to need some diorite alloys, you're going to need a cog, you're going to need a diorite alloy casing, and then you're also going to need some redstone dust, some lapis, and a daylight sensor. So that's probably the sticking point, is the daylight sensor, because you're going to need some quartz for that. Okay, to get yourself some quartz, use the sifter, stick some soul sand in there, and yes, you can get yourself some quartz. So that is how we can produce power. Okay, we've got it manually, we've got it with water, and harnessing the power of the sun. Now, to move that power around, we can either use cogs for horizontal rotational transfer, and as you can see here, all of these cogs are sending their rotational force on the horizontal plane, as it were. Okay, and then we can also use the shafts for vertical transfer of that rotational force. Okay, so that right there is the basics of those sort of starter items, how to create the rotational force and how to transfer the rotational force. But what to do with the rotational force? One of the first uses for our rotational power is in fact going to be the sifter. So early game, you want to get this set up for all of those extra resources. So the sifter looks just like this. Look at this. Lovely little thing. It's got a cog there waiting for some rotational power. But to make the sifter, we're going to need some stone. So stick your cobblestone in a furnace for that. We're going to need a cog. And we're going to need some diorite alloy casing. Okay, and that's going to make your sifter. Now, a sifter alone like this will not work. It will not do a thing. What we need to do is put some sort of mesh on top. Now, there's 4 types of mesh, and they all work better as we go up. So the starter mesh is the string mesh. And for that, we're going to need 5 pieces of string, which can be gotten from the flax, the flax plants you should have been given. Stick them in a planter, get that growing, and yeah, you can make yourself some string out of that flax. And yeah, a couple of sticks. So really, really easy, simple stuff. And this is early game, going to get you some really simple bits. And I'm going to show you a neat little trick on how to remind yourself what you can get. The next mesh is the diorite alloy plated mesh. So yes, once you've sifted a few things and you've got yourself some diorite alloys or some spare ones, a couple of sticks and then your original string mesh, you can upgrade your mesh. Okay, you can then upgrade this further into an amethyst plated mesh. So with the diorite mesh in the middle, a couple 6 amethyst shards and a couple of sticks. Yes, that's going to get us the amethyst version. And then same again, take that amethyst mesh, this time surround it with diamonds and sticks, and we get the diamond plated mesh. Okay, so in here, I've got some bits and pieces that I want to show you and get set up. So let's grab ourselves our sifter and let's pop that here. We are in fact going to need, and I've completely forgotten this, we are going to need a cog. Okay, so the cog's going to go next to it. We're going to put the hand crank on top, and this is now set up that I can hit the hand crank, it will turn the cog, and it will activate the sifter. But I do need to put a mesh on top, so let's click the mesh on, and this is now ready to go. Now, what I want to show you is there's a wrench that is going to be really handy, and I will come back to the wrench later on and show you the crafting recipe. But if you've managed to get yourself a wrench, punch the sifter with a sieve, with a mesh inside, and it's going to show you what you can get. Okay, and you can see here that by sifting dirt, we can get some pebbles here. This is how you're going to get yourself some more diorite. Okay, now if I crouch and punch, I'm going to get that mesh back, and I'm going to come over here and grab this amethyst plated mesh and pop that on top, hit it with the wrench, and you can see, look at this, a whole bunch of new stuff with the new mesh. And you can see in the bottom left there, it says drop multiplier ×3. So yes, the better meshes are going to get you not just different resources, but they're going to give you more as well. Okay, so let's take the amethyst mesh out. We'll pop the string one back in, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on here, and we have a little inventory inside, and I'm going to drop this gravel inside like so. Okay, and then we can punch the crank, and that is going to start sifting that gravel for us. And yes, look at that, we got ourselves a little iron nugget. Oh yes, 1 iron nugget, and we can just keep rinsing and repeating this until it has used up all of the gravel inside. And you can see there we're now down to 30. We've got another iron nugget there, fantastic. But as you saw, there is a bunch of stuff that we can get. Now, a few people have had issues with the sifters. There has been an update to the pack to try and fix this, but they're still a little bit temperamental. Okay, now what we can do is let's grab the gravel out, and I'll leave 1 in there, and I'm going to punch this, and we're going to have it mid-sift. Okay, now if we sneak and punch, you can see there that it's got rid of that gravel. It's reset the sifter. Okay, so yes, we have lost the gravel, but if for some reason it's bugging out, it's not working properly, that is one way of resetting it. What you can also do is if for some reason it's sort of kind of broken, you can just keep sifting it. If it stops working, keep sifting and it will auto fix itself. That's a note from Squidgy, one of the developers of this map. But yeah, for the most part, it should work okay now since the update. Let's try one more. Let's do that. And then, yeah, we'll do a shift and punch. And as you can see, it resets it. It removed that gravel that was on top. I'm going to do it once more as well, actually. So we've got 26 inside. It's taken one because that's mid-sift. And, okay, so we've still got the 25 inside. We just lost that one that was mid-sift on top. So let's throw all of this away for now. And let's come over here to a little automatic setup I've got. So we've got a solar-powered cog here, which is obviously powering the sifter. And then on the left here, I've got a hopper with a barrel and some gravel. So at the moment, this is locked because I've got this lever on. I'm going to unlock this, and we can now see that the hopper is feeding into the sifter, and the sifter will automatically eject whatever goodies it creates into this barrel below. So yeah, you can see there, we're getting a couple of coal nuggets. Let's wait for it to do one more. You can see in the background, gravel is in there, and more coal. So yeah, early on, the drops aren't the best. So as soon as you can, make sure you're upgrading. And just quickly, before I move on to the next machine, a friendly little reminder that if you're enjoying this little guide and you're finding it helpful, please consider just a little tap on that like button down below, because these videos have taken a huge amount of effort and time. So yeah, if you're enjoying it, just a little button press, a little tiny button press. It'll take you just a moment. But anyway, yes, the next machines are going to be the Millstone and the mechanical press. Okay, so let's have a look at what these are all about. Now, the mechanical press you're going to need for creating metal plates. Okay, so I've got a few different ingots here, and we can show off what they do. So I'm going to throw out some copper there, and as you saw, yes, copper ingot got turned into a copper plate. Okay, and this works with iron. Lovely, beautiful stuff. And it also works with gold. Okay, and this is relatively easy to make, a little bit expensive because you are going to need a whole block of diorite alloy. You're also going to need an alloy casing and a cog. Okay, so I've currently got this set up with a solar powered cog, which is fantastic because it just sits there, does its own thing, easy as peas. But what we can also do is power it with the hand crank. So let's throw one of those on. There we go. It's sat, it's ready. The press is wanting to do its thing, but it just needs a little bit of power. So give this a punch, and there you go. We now have our plate. So yeah, a little bit expensive, but quite easy to set up and get working. Okay, so the other thing is the mill. Okay, so we've got a cog, a diorite alloy casing, and a stone, and that's going to make the millstone. Okay, and this, just like the sift, it has its own little inventory inside, and I'm going to show you. I've got a little setup here. Okay, so we're going to pop the millstone down. You pop your cog next to it, and crank to power that, or of course you can have your solar powered cog, or even a water wheel set up somewhere nearby. Okay, and then when you punch the crank, we're obviously going to turn the millstone. Now, there's nothing in there at the moment. Let's pop some cobblestone in, and what's it going to do? Yes, it's going to turn that cobblestone into gravel. Okay, we can then put the gravel back in, churn it up, and that's now going to get turned into dirt. The dirt goes back in. That's going to get turned into sand, and then the sand goes back in, and boom, look at that. That's going to create us dust. So just like how the hammer works, we're going to turn cobble into gravel, gravel into dirt, dirt into sand, and sand into dust. And then you can obviously sieve or do whatever you want with these things. Okay, so just like the sifter, I've got a very, very similar setup here. We've got a millstone with nothing in it. We've got a barrel here with some cobblestone waiting to be fed in. Okay, using a hopper, and I'm going to unlock that hopper, and we can now see that's being fed, and then we can punch this, and instead of the gravel popping out now, we're going to see the gravel ends up in this barrel below. Okay, so just like the sifter, you can feed in with hoppers and it will directly output into inventories below it. So yes, nice and easy. You could easily set this up, have a solar powered cog here so it's running all the time, or a water wheel, and then you could put like a cobblestone generator feeding into the hopper, and then that would be fully automatic. And then you could probably have this feeding into a sifter as well. So yeah, completely automatic. But that right there is the mechanical press and the millstone. And next up is the mechanical harvester. This is a very, very cool piece of kit here. So yes, we can automate farming. How does it all work? So to make the harvester, we're going to need some diorite alloy cogs. So these are a bit new. Check the crafting book on the recipe book in the crafting table on how to make those. You're going to want some diorite alloy casings that I've shown off already, some cogs, and a couple of iron hose. And that is going to make this lovely little harvester. Now, I've got one set up here in the middle on quite a big plot of farm here. It's a 5x5 area, and I've set this up so I can show you the area that the harvester covers. Okay, so give that a punch, and you can see that that rotational power has been carried over, and the harvester is now spinning. It will do one full rotation before it stops. There we go. But you can see here that it's only covered. It did do that one as well. My tick speed's very high. Okay, it didn't grab that one, but it does a 3x3 area. Okay. Now, you're probably going to want something to pick all these items up. And I'd suggest having a look at my pedestal video and getting the magnet upgrade. If you don't know what it is, definitely go and check that out. Now, I've got a few things set up over here to try and show you what can and cannot be harvested. Now, as well as setting this up and having cogs and the like, you can in fact, hold on, mode S, there we go. You can punch it and it will actually activate it as well. So you don't need to have it set up with cogs, but obviously if you set it up with cogs and you have like a solar powered cog or a water wheel, this will all run automatically. Otherwise, you're going to have to come over and keep punching it. Now, if I punch this one, it's not going to do it now, is it? There we go. You can see here that it's not harvesting melons and it's not harvesting netherwort. Okay. Same here. It's not going to harvest this pumpkin. Okay. But it will harvest beetroot. It will harvest carrots. And of course, it will harvest potatoes. Okay. So your normal crops, absolutely fine, but it's not going to harvest pumpkins, melons, or netherwort. And last but certainly not least are the conveyor belts. Okay, so these conveyor belts can be used for moving items around. So let's grab some beetroot here. We'll throw that on top, and you can see that this is now going to go around in a lovely little, I was nearly going to say circle, square. It's going to go around in this lovely square here and just keep looping around. Eventually it will despawn, so you're going to need something to scoop that up, some sort of hopper, which I'm going to show you that in a moment. But how do we make the conveyor belts? So they're not too bad. You're going to need some more of the alloy cogs, some diorite alloys, casing, and some leather as well. So yeah, try and get yourself a little cow farm set up. If you're wondering how to get cows, check out my magic video. There is a way to actually summon cows on your island. So yes, definitely go and check that one out. But once you've got some conveyor belts on the go, you might want to make yourself a wrench. And I showed this earlier on with the sifter. Very handy. It was showing us all the things that could be sifted. And a wrench is made with a stick, a cog. We're going to want 2 copper plates, which as I showed already, mechanical press is going to be your friend there, and a diorite alloy. And the wrench is going to enable us, basically, when you place down the conveyor belts, they look just like a slab, and they're going to be on the bottom half of the block. But what you can do is actually hit the side of it with the wrench, Okay, I've got the angle right there. There we go. So yeah, be a little bit patient with it, but you can in fact move them up or down depending on how you want them positioned. Okay, so you can see here, well, here on the first one I've got them on the bottom half, but here you can see I've got them on the top half. And the reason I've set them up on the top half is because look, they can be fed straight into this lovely cactus. Cactus loves to eat cobblestone, so I definitely recommend, if you have your own cactus, feed it some cobblestone. But yeah, I've got another little showcase here as well, what the conveyor belts can do. So here we have got a sifter with a lovely diamond mesh. I've got a whole bunch of gravel inside. And if we activate this, so I haven't got a barrel underneath, but what's going to happen is the drops will just land, look at that, on the conveyor belt. They got sent along to this hopper and they've been fed into this copper chest. So let's just do that once more. So yeah, if you don't want to put a barrel underneath, or for some reason you have a different situation where maybe whatever items you're producing can't be fed into a barrel, then yeah, just use these conveyor belts. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Oh, you've got to love it. And look at that, all being collected in our copper chest. But that is it for things cog related in the FTB Skies pack. I hope you found the video helpful. If you did, please hit that like button on the way out. And until the next one, take care, stay cool, bye bye.